Trevor Norkey, moviepilot.com. I have a question for Elizabeth. So in Age of Ultron, you were all like scared of your powers, and then in Civil War, you started to gain some confidence, but you still could not really control, and you're still terrified of your powers. Do you think Scarlet Witch will ever be able to have any confidence with her, like real confidence with her powers, or do you think this is the peak of her confidence level?
I mean, I think what ended up happening was that she was starting to feel confident, but it wasn't about her powers, it was more about the conflict she had with making a big mistake. But I think what's interesting is every superhero has a weakness, and I've always thought of hers as she's the person who gets in her way, that she's kind of limitless. And so that's, to me, an interesting character trait. I don't know what we're going to do next, but I think of her as being like an incredibly strong, powerful person, and it's also fun because I feel like she could flip either way because of her her mind. I think there are a lot of things that could possibly be played with, but I'm not in control of that. But I think this film was a lot about just conflict in general, of what's right, how to use your abilities, or whether you should or not. I think that was a consistent theme throughout the whole film. So I think it was just consistent with that, as opposed to her being not confident.
She is on a growth arc, and it is part of her development. It's very tricky with very powerful characters, because unless they have an internal struggle or a flaw that limits them, then they do become limitless, and then the storytelling becomes muddled and not very interesting. Yeah. You know, if she could have stopped that fight at the airport in 5 seconds if she were at the peak of her powers. So it really, really has to do with, her character specifically going on a journey to understand what the limits of her powers are. She makes a mistake very early in the movie that sets her back, and we'll get to see where she goes in Infinity War.
It seems like you have a pleasant problem. It's like, I think after this film, everybody had such a high point. Everybody can carry their own solo film. People are going to be clamoring for Captain America 4 and maybe a War Machine movie, and that'd be a good idea. And how do you deal with that pleasant problem?
Great. Hey, listen, listen, Marvel's, and I've been really talking a lot about this in press, but it really is, over the course of the, I've been doing this for a while now, and it really is nice to kind of step back. In the first couple of years of your involvement of the franchise, you're very internal. You're scared about being the thing that's going to cause it. You're going to be awful, and you're very terrified in a very egoic manner. But as you kind of continue on the journey, you kind of realize how amazing it is what they're doing and what they're accomplishing, and how fortunate you are to be a part of it, this unbelievable interwebbing of stories, and you kind of are just so fortunate to be a part of it. And I say, keep going. Let's keep going. Let's let the wave get bigger and bigger, because it's not stopping. It's not like they're making bad movies. They're making great movies. And if you want to keep putting in this superhero box, you can. But the fact is, it's still good movies. It's good movies. They, especially the Russos, they ground them in such an authentic way. It's real humans, real struggles, real conflict, good cinematic storytelling with like a streak of superhero flavor in it. So I say, keep it going. Like, if you can keep doing it, keep doing it.